You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Always Game Gary. No bar is too far. No wing sauce is too hot. Not for Gary. Always Game Gary is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
I was about to start the show with Dolphins and Kiko Alonso and how, in the name of God, the Dolphins can be 4-3 while essentially being shut out 3 times this season. Shut out twice, scoring on the last play of the game in another game.
Football, Dan.
I mean, if they are not the symbol for what football is right now, just there's 4-3. And they've had 3 disaster games.
Yep, they're minus 60.
Last night, I want to talk about this Kiko Alonso hit. You need to tell me what people are saying publicly, because I really do believe he's going to get suspended. And the reason that he's going to get suspended is because we have more knowledge, not because he did something that was actually illegal.
Right.
And the league wants to send a message about this stuff, because it's not fair to make the rules so much different for the quarterbacks that Joe Flacco can decide late whether he's going to go down, but Kiko Alonso's not to.
I think
not allowed to.
I think if he gets suspended, it's because of the optics. It did not look good. It looked awful. I was watching it, but I don't think he should be suspended. He didn't do anything wrong. Joe Flacco has to pull up. He did not. He was going full speed. He did not pull up at all. And by the time Kiko got to Flacco, there's no way Kiko could have stopped what he was doing. There's no way he could have pulled himself back.
I don't
want to hear it today from anyone.
Okay, well, who is doing that? Because I am going to go the other way with you on this, and it's not because he's a Dolphin, and it's not because he's Cuban, and it's not because my father loves him. I'm going the other way on this because I thought what happened to Kiko Alonso yesterday was him playing football, and everything around him has changed so much. The science, our knowledge, football's need for good optics has changed around him so much that football stops being football as you make the rules different for Flacco than they are for Kiko Alonso.
Right, and I want to be clear, I'm a Jets fan, so I don't like the Dolphins. I'm just telling you, I watched that thing real time, and then they slowed it down, and they showed it at a million different angles, and I don't know how Kiko Alonso, when he's running that fast, and Flacco is running that fast, how he's supposed to stop his momentum and pull up in that spot.
Flacco wasn't running that fast. He runs like a baby giraffe.
Okay, for him, though. And he didn't slow down, and he slid late, and that's it. And it's a violent game.
But even though I intended to start there, we've got a couple of other things going on. One of them is a bathroom situation with Stugotz and my father that I'll get to in a second, because we've got one small bathroom here, and I can't think of 2 people in the world I want to share it with less. But also, my brother is here. He is painting right now at this moment, play-by-play. I believe Mike Ryan's nipples are becoming orange right now, if I can see here correctly. More orange than they were before. Thank you, Mike, for that correction.
Yes.
Very lovingly, as your hairy boob is painted. You lovingly corrected me. Yes, it was orange before. Now it is becoming a more orange as he becomes the ultimate warrior, complete with tassels on the arms and flowing 80s band hair. 80s, right? That's 80s band hair?
Yeah, that's 80s band.
What is that? Is that Rat? What do you think? Like, what are you going for there in terms of 80s music?
Quiet Riot, maybe?
Scorpion. Quiet Riot. Okay, Mike, just produce the show from over there. It's fine if they turn on your mic. Don't even get close to the mic. Just produce it from over there as you get your nipples painted orange.
He looks good. Mike has guns. Like his arms look
Mike's
good.
feeling very insecure right now for a lot of different reasons. And my brother, I'm sure, is not making things any better. I'm positive my brother's not making it any better.
Your brother's not making things
I know.
better.
What's he saying? What's he doing?
Enjoying it too much.
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's what he does.
And the tassels it's an optical illusion.
Is he jiggling paint between the jiggles? Like, is he finding the crevices of jiggle and then painting those?
It's really uncomfortable when the chest starts going with the brush.
Right.
Like the brush is lifting.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I want to happen here? What I want to happen here is for you to be involved in the show so much laughing that my brother has difficulty painting you, and that we can see that you're jiggling so much with fatty, hairy laughter that my brother has trouble making art. Anyway, LeboArt.com is where you go. My brother's doing a cool thing here.
By the way, he's going to need a way bigger brush. He didn't account for
like a roller
surface.
A roller.
Can we go, Allison? Can you go get my brother a roller, please?
I think Mike enjoys these. I do. I think he likes to show up.
Not this one. No, not shirtless.
He seems to always choose these. You know.
No. Wait, look.
I don't enjoy the nipple thing.
No, well, the thing is right now, the way that you're seated right now, and I don't know how you are on camera, but I am getting legitimate hairy orange side boob. Like that's what's happening here. All right, so he's going to be the Ultimate Warrior here in a little bit. What are you handing me here?
The meathead has texted in. I shouldn't call him a meathead because I love him. He's my friend Tony Baselli, but he felt the need to take a shot at you.
So here's this text from my nemesis, Tony Baselli, the left tackle, should be a Hall of Famer for the Jacksonville Jags. Tony Baselli is texting Stugotz. Great take. I'm shocked Dan agrees. Usually Dan would be putting the guy in jail. Baselli, man. We can't live by your primate rules, Baselli.
I love him, man.
Yeah, he's great.
I really do.
Usually I would be burying Kiko Alonso under the jail, though. But I'm telling you, the optics of that are something that football wants to eradicate, so they're going to punish that, even though he should not be punished.
Now, a lot of people wanted him ejected from the game last night. That did not happen. The referees kind of saw it the way I saw it, 15 yards, and they didn't eject him. And I think after the game, they were saying spirit of the rule type stuff, like, hey, Joe's got to pull up there, and he did not. It was kind of bang-bang, and it was hard for Kiko to pull up in that spot. But the NFL might think differently.
Well, what are the people saying? What are media people saying? Are they calling Kiko dirty? Are they saying that was a dirty hit? Are they saying that he should be fined and ejected, and this is an outrage?
I'll give you two people that I heard this morning. Mike Golick, who played defense in the NFL, and predictably, and I understand why, he said that they called it right. 15 yards should not be ejected and should not be suspended. But then they brought on Joey Galloway, who's an offensive player, and he said the same thing. He said he was debating whether or not it was even a penalty.
Well, this is the place that you get when the rules are different for one guy than they are for everyone else on the field. Because I'm guessing if we talk to quarterbacks, they'll tell us, no, you can't do that.
Right.
Because they've made this is a weird thing that's happened in football. It's not merely that the quarterbacks that we all know they're more valuable, important, but it's baked into the bread of the sport that we're going to make everything different for you, including the rules. No one else gets to live. Like, we object to when LeBron James gets treated like he's not the same as other human beings. We don't think that that's fair. And here you've got baked into the bread of the sport that they are treating their quarterbacks with more physical care by the rules than they are everyone else on the field. And it's not fair. I understand why they're doing it, but you need to make it that safe for everybody. Everybody's got to be playing by the same rules. That's got to be a hit that no one can find acceptable if you're really trying to eradicate this stuff and putting safety first.
Well, part of the reaction there, Dan, is quarterbacks are super protected, but that protection is really ultra protection within the pocket. Once they escape the pocket, the protections aren't exactly the same. So a receiver can do the exact same thing, and if he gives himself up, it's still a penalty if the defender gets there early, but we overreact because it's a face of a franchise. Joe Flacco has his arm straight up in the air because he's clearly concussed. It freaks you out because of the position that's running with the ball, but you're not more protected at that point.
Fascinating to me that we just have more knowledge about this. That was a great hit in every previous incarnation of football.
Oh, no doubt. A celebrated hit. Here's a pretty good example, I think. I've heard defensive players complain about the fact they lead with their helmet with the crown, they get a penalty. And this is defensive players currently playing in the NFL. Running backs lead with the crown all the time, going into them, and there's not a flag thrown.
Well, I'm going to victim.
Like they duck their head and they go in.
Stugotz, I'm going to victim blame here. Kiko Alonso is probably going to get suspended. He's going to be the face of shame for today in the news stream. He's going to lose money over this. This was Flacco's fault. The rules are different for you. You abide by them. get down earlier.
Yep, pull up.
Like, you can't do that where you're running toward a first down marker. Everyone knows that sometimes the quarterback at the first down marker doesn't give himself up. Sometimes he stands straight up and tries to get to the first down marker.
And how is Kiko supposed to know that? How's he supposed to know what he's going to do?
That's Kiko's got to play football full speed there, and he's going to get the national shame. But I'm going to victim blame on this one. I really do. I think that was Flacco's fault. Get down earlier. The rules are already different for you, baby giraffe.
Don Le Batard.
I had just come back from a journalism convention in Atlanta, and I was trying to get into my house. And, I was penguin walking down the driveway, and I realized I couldn't find my keys anywhere.
Stugotz.
I don't right now have the ability, given the state of my body seizing up, to climb through a window, to break a window. There's no time for that. What do?
You find a public place and you do what you got to do.
All right, so I went in the backyard, but this is the funny part about it visually is there's Dan Le Batard pooping next to a mountain of journalism plaques. I got 5 of them.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
This has to be funny visually to people walking through airports, or a lot of times I really feel that our radio show on television is something that is very often just seen by people walking through bars. A lot of people recognize me without having heard anything I've said. They just sort of associate me with the guy who's on television yammering that no one can hear at a bar.
Sure.
And so if you're walking past a bar right now and don't have any context for what's happening here, you're seeing sort of a radio show, a sports radio show on television, a simulcast, and a guy in the back, for reasons that might be hard to explain if you don't have the sound up, is being painted like the Ultimate Warrior while shirtless, wearing tassels on his arms. He's got the hair, the flowing mane of hair. He looks ridiculous. Now, I have to tell you something. My brother is very busy. He's a very big deal in the art world. This is a international colossal waste of his time.
Right.
And so,
but he seems to be enjoying himself.
No. Well, that's why it's not a waste of his time. What I'm telling you is that he's actually got a legitimate link to sports right now. That's a big deal because he's teamed up with the Ali estate in the way that only like Leroy Neiman does, and they're celebrating fights. And today's the anniversary of the Rumble in the Jungle. And so if you go to LeboArt.com, my brother, and if you're listening to the show, he's made it Rumble. Discount password Rumble. You get 20% off because he just decided that that's what he was going to do for you because he's having fun and wasting his time. So discount code Rumble. You'll see the T-shirts and the merchandise. It's Ali stuff. You know that Ali's one of my heroes. So it's a big deal that my brother would link up with a guy who may be my biggest sports hero. Like I haven't given this a lot of thought, but
I would, having done the show with you for as long as we've been doing it, I would say that Ali is your biggest sports hero.
Okay.
You've talked about him a lot over the years,
so
and we know how much you love boxing.
Well, it's an enormous blessing. The very idea that my brother, that the world would bring my brother and Ali's estate together to do some of this stuff. It's something that's pretty cool. So we've got Method Man on the show today. Jalen Ramsey's on the show. Jeff Bridges is on the show, and everyone's arguing about this hit last night. And Ndamukong Suh grabbing Ryan Mallett by the throat. That is such a stark visual, Stugotz.
Mm-hmm.
Ndamukong Suh picking someone up off the ground. Ryan Mallett's not a small human being, but that looked like something out of a movie, did it not? Did it not look like something you see in a movie where a big tough guy, Darth Vader, picks someone up by the throat?
Right. Yes, it did. And it's so Suh, isn't it? To be involved in something like that.
I mean, he's got to be so frustrated. He's losing 40-0, and it's not his fault. He's great at what he does. Like, I do think that part of what was happening there is that Kiko Alonso and Ndamukong Suh are just beside themselves frustrated because they're sitting here physically giving their body to this cause, and the Dolphins are on their third quarterback and essential third shutout.
Right. It's got to be frustrating for defensive players, just how skewed the rules are to the offense and especially to the quarterback.
Well, but what I think is funny about last night, Stugotz, is Kiko.
You had it right.
Yes,
Kiko,
thank you.
Yeah.
Kiko Alonso.
I'm not certain if that's a fine or not. I don't know what we do with that. Just let's move on.
Kiko Alonso and Ndamukong Suh were taking out their frustration on Ryan Mallett and Joe Flacco because they're not allowed to do it to their own offense.
Right. So they do it to the other team.
It would be a whole scandal, you know?
Really, Sue wanted to lift Matt Moore up by the neck.
That's right. And Kiko Alonso wanted to do that to Jay Cutler. But we'd make a big deal about it, so instead they do it to Flacco. And Mallet, and we make less of a big deal about it.
Did you see Harbaugh after the Alonso hit? Like, he wanted to go at it. John Harbaugh with Kiko Alonso.
I wish they had.
He was ready to go.
I wish they had. Guillermo, put it on the poll. Would you have liked to have seen where that Kiko Alonso, John Harbaugh brawl would have gone?
It would have gone to the hospital.
That's right. That's
John
exactly
Harbaugh
right.
in an ambulance.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's John Harbaugh tumbling out. Oh, look at that. Mike Ryan's not sure. The Ultimate Warrior's not sure.
It's a Harbaugh, man.
Oh, really?
It's a Harbaugh. Oh, well, that's the thing. One of the things that's interesting about it being a Harbaugh is you may indeed win, but all that will be left of Harbaugh is chattering teeth still trying to bite you. Like, that one's going to the end. You fight a Harbaugh. Put that on the poll, Guillermo. If you fight a Harbaugh, is it to the death? Like, your choices are either lose or the Harbaugh will die.
I feel like with Jim, it's probably to the death. I'm not so certain on John, though. Jim seems a little bit more intense than John, doesn't he?
Yes. Yes, I will grant you that. Okay. He also seems crazier. But are you guys down with the idea of if you fight a Harbaugh, it's either you lose or they die? Guillermo, put it on the poll that way. You lose or they die. Those are your two choices there, because I'm telling you, I would try to pummel a Harbaugh to death and I would win with a weapon or something, but I do feel like months later I'd still be fighting the teeth. Correct? Because they have a zeal for life that's weird, and competition that's weird.
Did you see the eye poke, too? I mean, yes, the Dolphins looked so dirty yesterday with everything that was going on.
Really
Wait a minute, I didn't see the eye poke.
Oh, you missed the eye poke?
Too.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, it's not great.
Who did the eye poke? I didn't see anything. I'm learning of this for the very first time right now. Live on air. I was busy getting awards at a Hall of Fame induction.
It was William Hayes. He was penalized for poking Ravens offensive lineman Austin Howard in the eye.
Who the hell's that?
Don't know.
William Hayes is a guy that believes in mermaids, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Don Le Batard.
Man, Le Batard, you're a wimp. You never put your hand in the dirt. It's football. It's a man's game. Be a man. Get concussed.
Stugotz.
Be a man, Le Batard. Have your brain scrambled. Drool out your mouth. Drool, Le Batard. Be a man.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
There's a word in this update here that is just unfair. And not only does Mike have me saying it once, he has me saying it twice in the span of about 15 words. Let's see if you can figure out which one it is. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show. Appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get instant gold status at Shell. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold. It was not fuel. That was not the word. Here's your SportsCenter update. Thursday Night Football. Ravens beat the Dolphins 40-0. Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco suffered a concussion and a bloody ear due to a hit by Dolphins linebacker Kiko Alonso. I'm rattled because the word's coming up. Pelicans forward DeMarcus Cousins had 41 points, 23 rebounds, 6 assists in his first game back in Sacramento as New Orleans beat the Kings 114-106. And finally, the word, I don't know what to do with this.
Hold on, Mike, what's the word? What is the word that he's...
Mammal hapatapatai.
Mama lappin' nacho pie.
There it is. It's the world's most succinct word according to the Guinness Book of World Records.
Hold on a second. I want this show produced a little bit differently.
I'm rattled.
Okay, but Mike, I want you far away from the microphone when you correct him on things, because you're getting painted as the Ultimate Warrior, and I want to remind people of that at every turn. So any instruction you have for us has to be far away from the microphone.
So, Mike, I'm just going to read the story again, and I'm not going to try to pronounce the word, and you tell the audience what the word is.
You try to pronounce it, I'll correct you.
And finally, the word mamahapatamatai.
Mama lappin' nacho pie.
Is the world's most
succinct
word according to the Guinness Book of World Records. Mamahapatapatai
Mama lappin' nacho pie
means a look shared by two people, each wishing that the other would initiate something that they both desire, but neither wants to begin. Mamahapatapatai.
Mama Lapinato pie.
For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Tim Kurkjian going to be with us here in 30 minutes. Jeff Bridges is going to join us at 11:30. Jalen Ramsey, is he the best corner in the league? I hope he talks. I hope he's a talker. I hope he is that he talks the way that he plays, because this guy has jumped off of the television screen since he's been at FSU. Method Man going to join us as well today, 12:30 Eastern, after thumping the skull of Colin Cowherd last week. And so Method Man returns today. Jalen Ramsey, is he indeed the best corner? It's going to be very hard for the Ultimate Warrior to look this up on ProFootballFocus.com while he's being painted. But who are, according to the people who do the metrics on this stuff, who is the best corner in football? Because my eye test tells me that this guy coming up with us at noon is the best I've seen. But I'm watching glancing. I'm not studying film. I'm not sitting here, percentage of catch rate. I'm not doing any of that stuff. It's just my eyes. I haven't looked at any of the numbers, so I don't know what the people who are doing the metrics on this stuff are. But if I ask you, Stugotz, off the top of your head, do you still go Patrick Peterson? Do you still go with like old school names that you've used before, even though
I think
Richard
Talib.
Sherman?
Yeah,
Richard Sherman?
Maybe Talib, certainly in that conversation.
Man, Talib's career has been amazing. Like, that has been a long career. To come out of Kansas and the idea that Talib is still doing it at a high level, that Talib was able to do it well with the Patriots, that he's doing it well with the Broncos, I'd be surprised if he's still that kind of corner.
I'm trying to find it right now for us. So,
Mike, is my brother done with you? Is the Ultimate Warrior now complete? Or, oh, there's my brother in the back there. You had disappeared behind the mass of the Ultimate Warrior. I didn't even see. I thought you had left.
Are we done?
I think it's done, yeah.
All right, there it is. Mike, you look tremendous. It's a tremendous waste of my brother's time and artistic ability, but you look great, and now you have to do the rest of the show that way. God, I love that so much. Are you feeling insecure right now, or is you doing your duty of being intrepid producer sort of wiping away the shame of your shirtlessness?
Show comes first, Dan, always. No distractions.
Get back to us on the cornerbacks.
Well, you do see how long it's taking me to get the information of whether Jalen Ramsey is indeed. You realize that what happened here? Why is information not flowing to me?
Well, you only want it from Pro Football Focus. I mean, I could have given you my opinion.
No,
but
I didn't want your opinion. I want somebody who's studying these things. I want to know if the guy that's coming on at noon with us today is someone who is as excellent as I happen to think he is.
Yeah, I saw a tweet a couple weeks ago that he was top ranked. Something may have changed recently. I got to reactivate my Pro Football Focus account because I wasn't necessarily prepared for this question.
That's fine. Understood. I understood we're doing other things here. But, Stugotz, go ahead and do it your way then. Don't look it up. Stop typing with those sausage fingers and just give me gas bag of the day opinion of who's doing it better at cornerback. I mean, you could go safe with just Richard Sherman. You already went Talib, which is pretty good.
I wouldn't go Richard Sherman. I think for me, Talib is the best cornerback in the league. Maybe him or Patrick Peterson, and then Jalen Ramsey. I don't think Jalen Ramsey has. I'm doing this based with no information. I haven't watched any of these guys play the entire season. Maybe Talib once or twice. I'm going to go Talib 1, right. Peterson 2, Jalen Ramsey 3, and Jalen Ramsey. He's close, but he hasn't jumped ahead of those guys yet. But he's getting there. Very close. And I like Chris Harris Jr. He's very good.
Guys, did this just happen? I don't feel like anyone's actually listening to the show back there. Did this just happen? Did Stugotz just nominate Jalen Ramsey, put this on the poll, Guillermo, as his third best and fourth best cornerback? Because I think that's what I just heard, that Stugotz's top 4 included Jalen Ramsey twice. Is that what just happened?
He is presently ranked at number 3. I'm trying to get 1 and 2, but I think maybe Xavier Rhodes might be in that top 2. He's had a very good year.
Not on my list.
Well, which is the way that people prefer to do it? I'm dead serious about this. Do you prefer Stugotz's way, or do you prefer when it comes to your football information? Put this on the poll, Guillermo. Do you prefer Stugotz's way or Pro Football Focus's way? When it comes to
what, shooting from the hip or
no,
research?
No. I'm talking about opinions on things. When we're measuring something that's subjective, right? It's hard. The measurements are difficult to come by on.
Right. I just look at guys who make plays, like guys who, interceptions. I know Talib had a big interception, took it back at home in a big game, and the fans were jumping all over him, and it ended the game, whichever game that was, and that's all I remember. And therefore, he's the best quarterback in the league.
Right, but I'm asking the audience which they prefer. Do they prefer, when getting their information, Stugotz's way or Pro Football Focus's way, specifically when it comes to football information? Gasbag X tells you cornerback Y is special, or the people who are crunching all of these numbers, studying film, talking to scouts, and then giving you Chris Collinsworth opinion, because Chris Collinsworth is combining both of those things. Chris Collinsworth, as far as I can tell in football, is doing that better than just about anybody, combining the televised element of I'm going to teach you here with his own observations and data.
Marshawn Lattimore from New Orleans is number 1 this season so far. Surprising, because a lot of people may not know his name.
There you go. Well, that is an interesting place to say that would be enough to make the Saints go from worst defense we've ever seen to below average.
Having a guy like that.
Yeah, having if you're going to get you're going to get a cornerback who is playing better than everyone in the sport according to their metrics, that would go a long way to explaining to me why it is that New Orleans' defense has been a disaster for several years, and then all of a sudden they're a little bit better than a disaster.
All right, we went to the tape. We have Stugotz's top 4 cornerbacks, as told by Stugotz.
All right, let's hear the top 4 cornerbacks according to Stugotz, because I think I might prefer this way to Pro Football Focus's way.
I'm going to go Talib 1, Peterson 2, Jalen Ramsey 3, and Jalen Ramsey. He's close, but he hasn't jumped ahead of those guys.
So Jalen Ramsey's very close to Jalen Ramsey. He's very close, but he's not quite there yet. What does Jalen Ramsey the 4th have to do to catch Jalen Ramsey the 3rd?
If the 2 Jalen Ramseys combine, then they will jump over the top 2.
Oh, see, that's very discerning of you, though, to see the difference between the 4th ranked Jalen Ramsey and the 3rd. I think only you can see it. That's how discerning it is. That you can see the difference between the 4th-ranked Jalen Ramsey and the 3rd-ranked Jalen Ramsey.
Hey, these stats are not going to read themselves.
All right, support my brother, people. LeboArt.com, because we are wasting his time. LeboArt.com, and if you put in Rumble, you get a discount code of 20% on everything that he's teaming up there with Ali to sell, the Ali estate, because that's a pretty cool partnership, and I'm proud of my brother that he is now working with Muhammad Ali. Discount code Rumble.
Dan Lebatard.
Yanni Adebabumbo.
Stugotz.
Giannis Adebabumbo.
This is the Dan Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So Don Van Natta and Seth Wickersham, they're about as good as we've got when it comes to reporting at ESPN or anywhere in sports, really. They are excellent. They've got a story that is giving you exactly how the owners actually feel and what they talked about in these meetings about the anthem. And the thing that has emerged from those meetings, or one of the things, is that Texans owner Bob McNair said that you cannot have the inmates running the prison. And this one's interesting because if he had merely said asylum, we'd be fine with it. Like, if he had merely called everyone in his league crazy and made him the one who is overseeing the crazy, we would have been fine with it. But then you make it prison, and then it becomes about, wait a minute, these owners think that they're the law enforcement on a largely black league. The inmates thing makes it feel racially coded.
And Troy Vincent was very upset, stood up when he actually said it, and players, rightfully so, are upset that he said it, although McNair did pull Troy Vincent aside later on, pulled him aside and said, hey, my apologies. I've used that before. Apologies. I understand why you would be upset, and Troy Vincent appeared to be okay with that.
I don't know. Well, he doesn't get to decide.
No, I'm just saying for Troy Vincent.
No, he's fine. That's fine.
I'm not saying for anyone else.
I know. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Troy, that's fine that Troy Vincent is fine, and now he can decide that for himself, and now we'll decide if we're fine with it. But I do think that that's interesting because I do think Bob McNair comes from another time and speaks to some of this stuff that we're talking about, which is old power with Harvey Weinstein. I don't know if you guys have read some of this other stuff that's coming out, but the things that, let me read, because now it seems that another director was even grosser somehow than Harvey Weinstein. the details on this James Toback, who did that Tyson movie. You remember that Tyson documentary, Stugotz, right? It was,
yes.
It was excellent, where it was James Toback just sort of getting Mike Tyson to talk about Mike Tyson things, to talk about sex, to talk about things very openly. And it's a very well-done documentary. I don't know how Toback, we had Toback on to talk about that documentary. I don't know how Toback got Mike Tyson, got that relationship with Mike Tyson to that place. But I've been reading here about James Toback, and the stories are disgusting and appalling, Stugotz, where he's doing things to people. Listen to this here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is Selma Blair. It's Vanity Fair, Selma Blair. And this guy has like 200 women now have come forward because his behavior was just off the charts horrifying. And I'm having difficulty finding it right now on my computer. Hold on a second. Just give me a second. And a lot of women are coming forward, and this is what she says. He walked me back to the bed. He sat me down. He got on his knees, and he continued to press so hard against my leg. He was greasy, and I had to look into those big brown eyes. I tried to look away, but he would hold my face, so I was forced to look into his eyes, and I felt disgust and shame, and like nobody would ever think of me as being clean again after being this close to this devil. His energy was so sinister. After he finished, he told me, there's a girl who went against me. She was going to talk about something I did. I'm going to tell you, and this is a promise, if she ever tells anybody, no matter how much time she thinks went by, I have people who will pull up in a car, kidnap her, and throw her in the Hudson River with cement blocks on her feet. You understand what I'm talking about, right? He looked at me with those bug eyes that had just raped my leg, and I said, yes, I understand.
Oof.
Ooh, you got creeped out there in a way that made you
creepy.
Chill your spines. Yeah, and this guy was apparently doing this to everybody. He was saying, I'm friends with Robert Downey Jr. Here's the movies that I've made. I can make you a star. And he was wandering around doing this to everybody. And when people from in Hollywood, we were talking about old people. We were talking about George Bush, the idea of him sexually harassing people. It feels to me that Bob McNair, the owner of the Texans, and while I'm not making him a sexual harasser, comes from a different time where, yeah, he felt comfortable saying, I run the prisons. I'm the owner of the Texans. I'm the guy who runs the prisons. And he said, do you realize how nuts it is that if he had just said,
asylum,
we cannot let the inmates run the asylum?
Right, which is probably a term he's used before many, many times. And the prison one, I'm certain he's used many times.
He would have been fine, but it's a national controversy now because that word
is... Well, just to use it in that setting, discussing what they're discussing,
right. Well, that's the point. That's the point. Yes. The point is that to use that terminology specifically in that setting where everything is sensitive and everyone is working together towards something shows you just how comfortable he is with coded language that he didn't even realize was coded until Troy Vincent stood up. But Troy's fine, so we should.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Always Game Gary. No bar is too far. No wing sauce is too hot. Not for Gary. Always Game Gary is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.
Don Le Batard.
Michael Jordan never scored 70 in a game.
No, but he scored 60-something in a legendary playoff game that they won.
Stugotz.
They lost.
Did they really?
They lost, yeah.
Wow, breaking news.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The telephone number, if you want to talk to the nicest man in the business, respected by all, Tim Kurkjian, 786-456-4837 is the telephone number if you want to talk to him. Baseball questions, life questions. Do you guys think that Mike Leach looks like a cartoon cow? Because I do. If you got to have the cartoon cow on two legs. It can't be a cartoon cow wandering around on four legs. It has to be a cartoon cow on two legs. But if you put it on two legs, would you agree, Tim Kurkjian, that Mike Leach, the coach of the former coach of Texas Tech and now of Washington State, that He looks like a cartoon cow. Or who in sports looks more like a cow? That's a good question. Who in sports looks more like a cartoon cow than Mike Leach? I'm sorry to waste your time. That was a great game the other day, Tim. It was that was a lot of fun. Can you put into context for us that game, what it meant, and what is the greatest World Series game you've ever seen?
Well, it's one of the greatest World Series games I've ever seen, but since it wasn't an elimination game, you can't put it at the top of the list. 1991, Jack Morris pitched a 1-0, 10-inning shutout in Game 7 at the Metrodome. That's still the best World Series game that I've ever seen, given everything that went into it, including 2 last-place teams that have moved to first place the following year. So, 2011, the David Freese game was ridiculously good. This certainly is one of the best I've ever seen. Certainly the best Game 2 of the World Series that I've ever seen. But it was very much in keeping also with this season, how this season has gone. A bunch of strikeouts and 8 home runs, 5 of them in extra innings. It was so good. It was so great to watch. And just another reminder that October baseball is about as good as it gets.
Timmy, want to go away from the series for just a second. It's a 2-part Joe Girardi question. Why do you think Brian Cashman did not want Girardi back, and do you think the Nationals will be interested in Joe Girardi?
I think the Nationals will be interested. And the question is, does Joe Girardi want to keep managing? He's a very intense guy, and he puts everything into this, and it can wear you down. And I think that's ultimately what happened with the Yankees is the shelf life managing that team. It's a miracle anybody makes it 10 years managing any team these days, especially one in New York. And I just think with everything going on in baseball today and with social media and everything else, the shelf life for a manager in Boston, in New York, 5 years is about as far as you can go, and Girardi made it 10. I think that had a lot to do with it, and I think he did a great job as the manager there, but eventually it's time for everyone to move on in one form or another.
What is the precedent for this, though? Because, Tim, he was the most successful manager in baseball, wasn't he, over the last... Like, where is the precedent for the other time you've seen a guy win like this and yet still wear out his welcome? Overachieve and yet wear out his welcome, because he's done it twice now.
Yep.
Because it happened with the Marlins, too.
Yeah, I don't think there is precedent, Dan, for somebody being this good for this long. I mean, Whitey Herzog just walked away in the middle of the season, but that was his choice with the Cardinals because they had stopped listening to him. And other Yankee managers, including Yogi Berra, were fired after, winning divisions and pennants and everything else. But in this case, he didn't last 10 years in the job like Girardi did. So I'm not sure there's anything exactly like this. And the way they overachieved this year and several times in the last few years is just amazing. And that's why he didn't deserve to be fired. But, in the end, after 10 years, sometimes they just need to go somewhere else.
Tim, I don't know if Joe would be interested, but do you think Derek Jeter, who now owns the Marlins, do you think he'd be interested? I know they have Mattingly, but Jeter's already, he's gotten rid of a bunch of luminaries. He's firing people. Do you think that maybe Jeter perhaps would be interested in Joe Girardi?
I'm going to say no, because he's got a manager, unlike the Nationals, who don't have a manager, and I don't think Jeter is going to replace Mattingly with Girardi. But it's going to be real interesting to see. And again, it goes back to, does Girardi want or need a year off from this? Right. He's got a son in high school now. Does he want to be around more? Is the intense way that he manages everything, which is what makes him so good, by the way, does he just want to step away from that for a year and then wait for another job? Just not sure there are too many great jobs that will be available a year from now when, say, a really good one's available in Washington right now.
Nathan, you're on with Tim Kurkjian. Go ahead, Nathan.
Hi, Tom. If you could pick 3 smells to smell for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Oh, great question.
Awesome.
3 smells for the rest of your life, but only 3, Tim Kurkjian. Thank you, sir, for being a caller who understands what we do around here.
Anything in a bakery, let's just call them donuts. Yeah, let's say fresh baked bread. I'll take that first over anything.
Right.
Good choice. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
So good.
Bacon smell is great.
Wow. Good answer. Good answer.
Wow.
Good answer. Wow, you are the head of the table in the Family Feud here, Kurkjian. Go ahead.
And I love the smell of coffee, but I don't drink coffee. It just smells really good. It doesn't taste very good.
You were doing so good, Tim.
Yeah, that was. Thank you.
Bakery, bacon, and coffee.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm surprised he didn't go like something from baseball, freshly grown grass, or
he's numb to those smells at this point.
An oiled mitt.
Yes, yeah.
Mike Trout's underpants. I thought, what? What from baseball would be the smell that you would choose?
Well, I love the smell of pine tar. I always have. And it shouldn't be, it's not like a real delectable smell, but I love it. And it reminds me of all those games I went to when I was a kid, when I would go to watch the older guys play at Cabin John Regional Park. We would play as little kids our games, and then I would come back later and watch the big guys play. And that smell of pine tar at the Industrial League games that I used to go to as a little kid, I'll always remember.
Guillermo, go ahead and put that on the poll. Is Kurkjian a raving weirdo for liking the smell of pine tar? Go ahead and put that on the poll. Raving weirdo. Charles, you're on with Kurkjian. Go ahead.
Hey, Tim, it's me again, and I have another hypothetical. Would you rather be Dan's bath towel or Stugotz's toothbrush?
Dan's bath towel.
Oof. Good question. Good question. Good question. Good question. All right. I mean, oof.
Terrible question.
Yes.
All right. I'd rather be Dan's bath towel.
Yes!
Why?
Yes! A lot of bacteria in your mouth. No, what? A lot of bacteria in your mouth.
Tim, I am foul. I'm disgusting. All the guys here, the shipping container, they all were saying they'd rather be my toothbrush. They were all saying it.
No.
Much rather be in your
Guillermo,
mouth.
go ahead and put it. Well, he's counting on the fact that I don't dry well. That's Tim Kurkjian knows me enough to know that I'm. So that towel is just going to be on the legs. It's going to be on
swampy.
No, on the.
I mean, you're wrapping Tim Kurkjian around your waist right after you get out of a bath.
Yeah, but I'm covered in oils, like soothing oils and stuff.
It makes it better.
He knows that too. Wait, what? Guillermo, can you put it on the poll, please? Which would you rather be, Dan's towel, or Stugotz's toothbrush? All right, let's ask him some real questions here. Adam, well, I don't want to take any more calls. All right, Adam, you're on with. I want to get to the looks like game. Adam, you're on ESPN Radio. Go ahead, Adam.
All right, thanks so much for taking my call, guys. Honestly, I can't believe how great that World Series Game 2 was. My question for Tom was, along with the greatest games of all time, you mentioned 1991 Jack Morris, but how about the Joe Carter game? How great was that, for the Toronto Blue Jays?
Wait a minute! Like that. Wait a minute! This isn't Adam! Get him out of here! What's that guy trying to do? Sneak into the Kurkjian segment? That wasn't Adam. That was clearly Adnan Verk.
What?
He can't call in here.
I'm with you, man. The guy's got a million platforms. I mean, jeez.
Verk, get your own platform.
Tom, do you stand or sit when you go to the bathroom? I want to know.
All right. Does Amino?
Dan, wait. I did Sportsnet in Canada the other day for the World Series, and the two hosts were trying to imitate the Welcome to Tangier look-like about Adnan. They both took a run at it. It was like the greatest thing they've ever heard. And they said, "Can we try to say it?" So they said it on the air. It was so bad. It was great.
Listen, we're all going to go to Morocco sometime. Once we find out who this Adnan guy is. My name's Adam, and I love you.
Get him out of here! I'm so tired of him trying to sneak on our show from every angle.
Take a hint.
Does Amino Hassan look like the guy at the mall trying to get me to switch my phone service? Yeah, he does. Does Pete Carroll look like the guy at the funeral of someone who died of old age and natural causes, who looks into the coffin and says, "He's never looked better"?
He liked that one.
He did like that one. Does Andy Reid look like a homicide detective close to retirement who lets out a long, drawn-out groan every time he stands up and a forcefully exhaled sigh every time he sits down? Does Mike McCarthy look like he sprays the broccoli at Trader Joe's? Does Bob Ryan look like he goes to the convenience store, buys a bag of peanuts, then spends an hour small talking the disinterested cashier while eating the peanuts he just purchased? Does Ron Rivera look like your girlfriend's dad? Does Adam Gase look like the irritated bartender at the sports bar when you ask him to find the channel of the McNeese State game? Which one does Tim Kurkjian look more like, Stugotz? The piano player at a fancy restaurant or the old sad jockey who has never won the big one? The old sad jockey?
Oh, no doubt.
Does he look more like the old sad jockey who's never won the big one than he does like the guy jogging at the crosswalk when he's got the stop sign waiting? He keeps jogging in place?
Old sad jockey is the best I've heard.
Really?
Yes,
all right.
That's good.
Tim, you are a delight. Thank you for spending time for us with us every week.
Nothing in life is free. Time for some ads.
I love that, man.
I can't tell you how much I love that guy.
Dan Le Batard.
Did you love the Joker's Wild? 61% of the audience said no.
Oh, you damn young people, soaring with so much ignorance.
Stugotz.
You don't even know what we're talking about. The Joker's Wild is the truth, man. Stay woke.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Jeff Bridges is going to join us in 10 minutes. The dude.
Yeah.
We always enjoy talking to him. He is very the dude. And so he's going to be with us in 10 minutes. Method Man going to join us in an hour and 10 minutes. I'm curious, Stugotz, are people saying what we are saying, that last night what happened to Joe Flacco is on Joe Flacco? Are there people saying that? Because I want to guard against, I am a Miami guy, proudly Miami, but I am not a fan of the Miami Dolphins.
Right.
I'm interested in the Miami Dolphins. I don't root for the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. I don't root against them. I watch them. They've been uninteresting for the last 20 years of my life.
They're not pinning what happened last night on Joe Flacco, but a lot of people are agreeing with what we've said, where Kiko Alonso maybe deserved the flag, 15 yards, did not deserve to get ejected from the game. It certainly does not deserve to be suspended moving forward.
Here's what I would say, okay? Because this is not because he's Cuban. I'm telling you this because I know you're going to accuse me of these things. It's not because he's Cuban. You know I'm anti-violence in that sport, and I do think that should always be penalized 15 yards. But we have created a competitive advantage for the quarterback in that. It's a competitive advantage that's been created for him, is that he can decide at the first down marker whether he's going to slide or not, or whether he's going to go standing up, and guys don't know what to do near the sidelines, near the first down markers, near the quarterback, because the quarterback is playing by a different set of rules than everyone else on the field.
Oh, and they're moving very quickly. Things are happening very quickly on a football field. It's so hard for Kiko to pull up in that spot. It just is.
It's a very difficult ask at the first down marker to ask a linebacker or anybody. So what I'm telling you is that should be flagged for 15 yards because it should be safety first. But I think the next step on that is you have to be okay with that being something that's all over the field in some future incarnation of the sport.
Right.
Because if what you're trying to do is stop head injuries, the way to stop them is to make it so that is a penalty on everyone in the sport, and that everyone in the sport is playing by the same rules. So you might have a future in football. I'm not even kidding you, where running backs are sliding. Where wide receivers are sliding.
No. They have that rule. They can do that. Quarterbacks are the only ones that actually give themselves up. But the rules to protect them, like I told you, that's all in the pocket. Receivers have the option to do what Joe Flacco did. It doesn't put the defender in any less of a difficult position.
I'm saying we're headed toward a future where everyone on the field is doing that.
But, Mike, when a running back leads with his crown, puts its head down to go into a pile to try to get a few extra yards, he does not get flagged for that. And defenders, I've heard guys who are playing in the NFL who play linebacker, who play defensive tackle, say that's infuriating to them. Why can they do it?
But if you take it to the logical extension of safety first, if you take it to the logical extension of science proving brain injuries at every turn, what I'm telling you is that's going to be the rules for everybody soon.
Right.
The optics on this have changed over the last 5 years, where we all know you can't do that to a quarterback. That is a seismic culture shift that all of us are reacting to the Flacco hit as that looks wrong, They have changed the culture around that sport in terms of how we receive this stuff, because that didn't used to look wrong. That used to look the most right.
Yes, that was normal.
No, but I'm saying that's a good football hit 5 years ago. That's exactly what you want. That's the menace you want from your linebacker. That's what you want him doing in that situation.
I think we have a disconnect here, because I'm telling you, other positions can do that, and they're protected by the same rule. It's just the quarterbacks that are doing that because of the nature of the position.
I hear you. What I'm saying is, in the future, other positions are going to take advantage of that rule, is what I am saying. I understand that anyone on the field can do that, but right now, the quarterback is the only one who's expected to do it. The quarterback is the only one who has the rules that feel different for him everywhere, but may indeed be the same there. I think we're going to see a future where football is going to be that much less fun, because science is going to force them to put the safety first.
I mean, it looks so bad, but what is Kiko supposed to do in that spot? His job, he's been trained his whole life. Hey, prevent guys from getting first downs. And he sees a quarterback going towards a first. What's he supposed to do?
I think they're going to make a symbol of him. I think they're going to suspend him for a game. And I think they want everyone in the league being afraid of partaking in that hit on a quarterback. I think they're going to punish him for something that wasn't wrong. The dude next.
Dan Le Batard.
Gone with the Wind was 4 hours long?
4 hours too long.
Really? Gone with the Wind is overrated?
It is overrated.
Okay, very good.
Doesn't hold up.
Stugotz.
I mean, how long does it take for something to blow away?
I do love how happy that makes you when you get the Hakeem Nicks laugh.
The highest honor.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We really like spending time with this human being. His new film, Only the Brave, is in theaters now nationwide. It's got a very good rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Jeff Bridges, the dude, is going to be with us in seconds. And if this guy picks a project these days, I like the decisions that he's making later in life, with the freedom that comes with having had success. And
there was our IPD.
Well, but there are going to be some bad choices. But I feel like Jeff Bridges later in life is making. I'm curious. I want to get the answer from him on who he thinks is someone in Hollywood that's making the best choices. Because I really liked the art of Hell or High Water. I liked the artistry in it, and they were telling a bigger story about the frustrations that are in a lot of pockets of smaller America that feel desolated, lost, and forgotten, and the lengths that those areas have to go. They told it through a bank robber movie, but it was a beautifully shot movie, and I'm sure that Jeff Bridges, when he gets involved in some of these projects, knows what they're going to look like. Like you know how I like those Rotten Tomatoes ratings, and this Only the Brave is a firefighter movie, right?
Yeah, they go into the forest. They're fighting forest fires, right? In this one.
Mm-hmm. And it's got a big number on Rotten Tomatoes. Will you not watch anything that's 90% on Rotten Tomatoes? Like if I tell you that Rotten Tomatoes, because there are some period pieces that I've got very little interest in. I've got very little interest in the slow period piece that's getting artistic great recommendations on Rotten Tomatoes.
I feel like 90%. Yes, I'll probably watch just about anything, but it puts your expectations in a weird place. You know, because you're expecting it to be great, and sometimes it might fall flat a little bit when you go in with those lofty expectations. I try not to look at Rotten Tomatoes that much, to be honest with you. If it's a movie that I think I'm interested in, I'm going to watch.
All right, well, Only the Brave has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, and like I said, Jeff Bridges is making very good choices here with his movies. And so I wonder, Jeff, and thank you for being on with us again, who's the guy in Hollywood that you look at, or the woman in Hollywood that you look at, and you say, that person is making consistently good choices. That person has a very discerning eye among actors for the parts that he or her is taking.
Oh, gee, that's a hard one. Myself comes to mind, but that's kind of cheating, I guess. I do my best to try to do the kind of movies that I'd like to see, and Only the Brave is certainly one of those.
Jeff, you can't do that. The answer to that question can't be you.
Yes, it can.
Like, it can be for me. It can't be for you. The answer.
Why can't it be?
Why not, man? I don't know. I can't speak for other people. as the dude might say, that's just my opinion, man. Opinions, they kind of run rampant in us human beings. We got opinions all over the place.
Right. So your opinion is what is.
Well, but hold on a second.
I don't know. I do my best. I don't know. That's a weird question, man. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, since we're now, tell me, Jeff Bridges' societal thoughts. Who's a person out there giving an opinion in any walk of life that Jeff Bridges these days is listening to, whether it be politics or journalism, entertainment, anywhere? Jeff Bridges wants this person's opinion on things.
I try to listen to everyone's opinion. I just don't take them too seriously.
Nobody? Who's the?
No, not really. I mean, I listen to I listen to what people have to say and kind of think about it. But there's not one person who I say, God, that guy has got a handle on the whole damn
Well,
thing.
honestly, Dan, that person would also be Jeff Bridges. My opinions on things.
It seems like I got a pretty high opinion of myself.
What is the movie that you've made where, when you were done with it, you thought it was, that's criminally underrated as art, according to Jeff Bridges, where you're like, this was good. What we made here was good, but the people didn't appreciate it.
It's interesting that now that's an interesting question because the reason I'm on the phone with you guys right now is to talk about Only the Brave, which is sort of a movie like that. Like, I was surprised that more people didn't come, see it the first weekend it's out because it is such an incredible film. Every once in a while, all the elements come together. We've got a great story, a great script. Actors are cool. The cinematography is great. The great direction, and sometimes you got it, and the movie isn't that good. You've got all those elements, but rarely it all comes together, and the movie that you had high hopes for exceeds all your expectations. It really comes together, and I think Only the Brave is one of those movies. I mean, some of these performances, Josh Brolin just kicks it so well, and Miles Teller and Jennifer Connelly. That performance really crushes me. She's so wonderful in it.
Jeff, you're great, and I love you, but the answer to that question can't be the movie I'm presently promoting.
It's perfect. It's a perfect answer to your thing.
Jeff,
I'm disappointed, man, that people are not going to see this movie, and I think they'll dig it when
they're going now, Jeff. They're going now because of this good work and important work we're doing. But the answer to that question can't be for you to simply move aside from my question and promo your movie. It's not fair.
No. I know, but I seriously, I wasn't doing it. It just fits so well. But I can give you some other.
Well, hold on a second. I'll make this trade with you. People listening to the sound of my voice, go watch Only the Brave because Jeff Bridges makes good choices, and he's telling you that this is an arty movie that you should watch. Now, give me an answer to my question, please.
So, and your question one more time. Shoot it to me.
The movie
the one you just avoided,
that you've made that you thought to yourself criminally underappreciated. You're not allowed, Jeff, to say what was your question again when the answer you already answered the question with your promo.
Stop yelling at him.
I've got it.
That's a fine, Dan. Jeff, I got your back. Dan, stop yelling at him, and Jeff, just nicely answer the question, okay?
Okay. Right. No, I made a movie years ago called The Amateurs, and I thought it was a great movie, a wonderful cast, and we had a lot of fun making it. Michael Traeger wrote it and directed it. It was his first film, and it was a great experience for me, and I really thought the movie was quite funny. It's called The Amateurs. It's about a little small town that decides to go into the porn business.
All right, I'm going to go watch that too now.
You happy, Dan?
Yes, I am happy. Now, I like using Jeff Bridges as my personal sort of Rotten Tomatoes, where I ask him, hey, what should I see of yours? What should I see of yours that I have not seen? You mentioned acting with the folks that you did with in Only the Brave. What is a time that Jeff Bridges has been acting and has watched the work of another actor in a film you're working in, or actress, and you're like, I'm awed by the performance that this person is putting on?
Now this will sound...
Oh, no.
It's going to be this movie, right?
Only the Brave.
Oh, I'll tell you, man. Jennifer Connelly in this movie, in Only the Brave.
Yeah.
The three leads, Miles Teller, Josh Brolin, and Jennifer, just do a remarkable job. I mean, really, puts me on my, really sets me back. But I mean, I was in England recently promoting a film, and I watched 3 movies back to back, and had a good time in all of them. I saw Snatched. Did you see that movie?
Snatched, the Guy Ritchie movie, or Snatched, past tense?
No, Snatched. I think it's past tense. It's Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer.
Oh, that looked dreadful.
You thought that was dreadful?
No, I haven't seen it. It looked dreadful. I haven't seen it. It just looked dreadful.
No, it made me laugh. It's a great mother and daughter film. I saw Get Out. I thought that was good. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I liked it. Really liked Get Out. Yeah, I love just talking movies with Jeff Bridges.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then I liked the De Niro movie. The Madoff. What was it called? Right, it was just called.
What was that called?
Madoff.
I'm wondering, but do you do like the things?
Pfeiffer.
Do you do the things that we do as moviegoers, where we're like, "Oh man, De Niro and Pacino haven't tried in 20 years. They're just that Pacino's just yelling." No. Would you ever do something like that, man? I would never do that.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You feel that about those guys?
About an actor, like the business, like a movie fan. Would you ever think of another actor? Oh, that guy or that woman, they're not trying. They're just mailing it in.
I think I wouldn't think that. I mean, when I look at my own performance, it's almost like a red light, green light. I'm very judgmental, and being in the biz, I'm a pretty tough, critic, because I kind of know, what it entails making the thing. So it's always a good sign if I get swept up and I'm not thinking in those terms and I'm just watching the film. But that's kind of tough for me sometimes.
All right, I'm going to call you again Monday, and I'm going to tell everyone to watch Only the Brave. It's in theaters now nationwide, and we're going to call you again Monday.
Can we do that, Jeff? Can we talk to you Monday? Because Jeff, Dan hogged all the questions. Yeah. I have a bunch of questions.
Yeah,
so
I did hog the questions.
All right. Well, Monday. I know it's a little early, but maybe we'll work something out.
Okay. That sounds
well,
like
we'll keep.
No.
Yeah, it does sound like a no, but we'll keep promoting this film.
I like hanging with you guys, so we'll figure something out.
Okay, let's figure it out.
All right.
Thank you, Jeff. All right, cool.
What happened, Mike?
Time to pay for the deal we made with the devil.
You guys should follow his vibe.
You
guys were so high-strung. You know what, Stugotz? I'm sorry to lump you in with Dan. Dan's vibe was so not Jeff Bridges-y.
Yeah, hitting out, man. You don't come at the dude like that, man. You just kind of roll with his vibe.
Yeah, you guys are right.
You let him kind of guide you through the interview.
That's
and I
got to be honest. I know that you were looking for a specific answer, and he gave you the amateurs. His first answer, way better.
You know what? My bad. I take it all back. My bad. I hope Jeff Bridges forgives me and comes on again on Monday.
Don Batard.
Stugotz spent the entire break giggling at a text. What does that text read?
This has been the worst hour in the last 6 years of the show, and it's not even close.
Stugotz.
And it's not even over.
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
So on the radio, if you're listening on the radio, not watching on television, there's a rejoin on the radio that just played. And I'm going to tell you what happened here behind the scenes because I'm not even going to lie about this. This is the God's honest truth, and we will get to burying me for ruining that Jeff Bridges interview in just a second, and also some epic sound of the day as well. But this just happened on the air. We played this rejoin on the radio.
Don Batard.
Stugotz spent the entire break giggling at a text. What does that text read?
This has been the worst hour in the last 6 years of the show, and it's not even close.
Stugotz.
That's it. So that was playing. As that played, Stugotz argued with his own tape-recorded voice, saying it was not. This has been a good show so far. He was arguing with his own tape-recorded voice, saying Tim Kurkjian was great, and it was his own voice reading a text saying this is, and he felt the need to argue with his own voice.
I feel like Mike does a show within the show here, and I feel like he plays that rejoin specifically when he thinks we're in the middle of a bad hour. And I was just pointing out that while Jeff Bridges was bad because of you, I don't feel like the hour was bad.
That's not what we were doing with that rejoin?
Oh.
No, Stugotz, what you were doing is arguing with your own voice, and I caught you. That's what happened. Well, you were arguing distractedly with your own voice. You didn't realize that was someone else, that was a text you were reading from another show. You are so weird, dude.
Yeah.
You were just arguing with your own voice about whether it was a good show or not.
I kind of feel like you're deflecting right now.
Okay, now, well, let's get to that.
Taking the attention off of you and
very
just
good
putting
move,
it
but
squarely on me.
okay, well, that's good because we do need to get back to me. I owe everyone in America and the company and Jeff Bridges an apology. I botched that interview, and everyone knows it, and the shipping container was ripping me during the break. Allison is mad at me, and I just botched it, and I'm sorry for botching it. And I don't know what to tell you. Hopefully he'll come up on with us again on Monday.
Never.
I don't think so. I mean, listen, the dude has a vibe, and it's chill and relaxed. And you were like yelling at him and demanding things of him. And he answers how he wants to answer, man. He's the dude.
You wanted him to throw another actor
You guys are so
under
right.
the bus.
You guys are so right.
As if that's something the dude would do.
I feel very vulnerable right now. You guys are totally right. I have no answer. I got no rebuttal. I can only say I'm sorry to Jeff Bridges, to Disney, to everyone in America who heard that, and everywhere beyond America who heard that.
And I'm worried because we got Method Man coming up. He's back as our celebrity prognosticator. I'm pretty sure you thought he was RZA the last time you interviewed him. He was so woefully underprepared.
Okay, so today, all right. All right, so I'm not at my best, and I'm not at my most confident self right now. I am rattled, and I owe you all of an apology, and I'm sure that everyone here in this room and the trolls on the internet and the trolls on Twitter, that they can be trusted with that vulnerability, and you will not use it for evil. You will hold me to your bosom and protect me, and you will be empathetic because I botched that, and so I'm positive that you will be comforting in my time of need.
You're getting buried.
I know.
I mean, buried.
I know. And now I mean, you should all be emboldened. Here's one of the reasons that I can never show weakness. You're about to see it coming in. Like, it's one of the reasons. Like, I got places that are weak, but I can't share them with you guys because if you do, like, I know the fire I'm starting. No, Stugotz is turning red-faced with laughter at just what's pouring in the moment I admitted a weakness. I'm well aware of that, and frankly, I deserve it after that.
You can always count on Bud Light, just like you can always count on Always Game Gary. No bar is too far. No wing sauce is too hot. Not for Gary. Always Game Gary is famous among friends. He deserves a Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, 80 St. Louis, Missouri.
Don Le Batard.
You guys ever look at dog food and say, let me try that?
Oh,
I have tried it.
I saw this. What?
I've tried it before. College.
Stugotz.
Well, how could you be so desperate that you would eat dog food?
I had nothing else to eat.
But then don't eat. I can't imagine a situation outside of crawling across a desert or being lost in the jungle, needing some sort of sustenance.
Maybe a dare or a bet or something like that.
Maybe.
That or you're totally baked.
Nailed it.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
This is the best defensive back in the universe joining us right now. I don't know if people know this about him. I feel like they don't know it yet. They should know it. I'm telling you, when I watched this kid play Florida State against the University of Miami, he was the best athlete on the field.
It's not a shot at anyone. Do you think it's a product? Because you're right. I agree with you, although I have him third on my list. Do you think it's a product of him playing in Jacksonville?
Let's ask him.
All right.
Jalen Ramsey with us now on ESPN Radio. You're the best doing it right now, correct?
You know what? I do have the confidence. I'm gonna say every corner should believe that they're the best doing it in the game right now. I also have my counterpart AJ on the other side of me, who's doing it pretty big too right now. So we definitely competing for that top spot.
Well, who's the guy you look at on another team where you say, okay, he might be a challenger to me. He's not a worthy challenger because there are no worthy challengers. I'm a defensive back and I'm the best in the universe. But if there were a worthy challenger, perhaps I would give this name the title of worthy challenger.
Definitely, Patrick Peterson. I think he is a baller, consistently balling all the time. I actually think Casey Hayward's really good too. I think he's a baller. He's been coming along these past couple of years. And then guys who make plays around the league, of course, Richard Sherman, Marcus Peters, Marcus Trufant, and the Denver duo. I think those are the top tier guys right now.
Did you get into the league immediately? Because I remember talking to you on Highly Questionable one time when you were about to get drafted. Did you get into the league, and was there any day, a practice, an afternoon, where you didn't feel like I belong here? Like just any one moment, like a 10-minute spread somehow. Well, I don't, maybe doubt.
No, not really, to be honest with you. Because I mean, there's no perfect player ever. So as a DB, you got to have a short memory. So when things did happen that didn't go in my favor, I didn't look at it as, I don't deserve to be here. I just looked at it as whatever just happened, I got to get better at it. But I'm gonna drop it from my memory and keep it pushing, keep it going to the next thing, and be the best I can be. I know I belong, though. I know I've been blessed by God. I know I work harder than the rest, and I'm trying to be the best.
I'm wondering here, does that apply to other aspects of your life? Are you able to exhibit the I've got to forget it, and move on of a cornerback in other places of your life where you make mistakes?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just how I try to go about my whole life. Nobody's perfect in anything. I was talking about football, but like you said, in life in general, that's even good to use, in relationships or something like that. My girl, she might get mad at me sometimes because I don't want to talk about, why I made her mad or something like that. I just want to move on, go to the next thing. I don't want to spend too much time on negative things or issues.
I'd like to do relationship advice with Jalen Ramsey. Do you want to do that with us? Just like little tips on how it is to have a good relationship?
Well, I'd also like to offer him some advice and tell him sometimes you got to stop and have those discussions. Like, ultimately...
You do.
Yes, you do.
That's
I'm telling you.
Mad at me.
Even, Jalen, even if you're not listening, you have to act like you're listening. Just nod your head yes, and it will do wonders for you in the long run, man.
Good advice. Yeah. I think maybe the segment should be Stugotz dispensing advice.
Yeah. I need all that advice.
So what can you tell us about your time at FSU? I know you loved Deion Sanders growing up. I know your father, I don't want to say your father has a little LeVar Ball in him, but your father is also a trash talker, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I got a group chat with, my dad, my managers and whatnot, and we always calling him Big L because his name is Lamont. So we call him Big L too, like he's LeVar of the football game. I mean, I'm just like him, spitting image of my dad. I mean, trash talker.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Does Lamont get on these conference calls with your business associates and light everyone up?
Yeah. He
That's awesome.
Some arguments now. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then you tell him like, man, you always starting an argument. I always tell him like, man, you always trying to start an argument or something. It'll be like a Tuesday, middle of the day. He'll send us like a controversial article or something, and then be like, let's debate. He'll call it a debate, and it's like, man, you just bored right now. You want to argue, but it's fun though, man. That's my dude.
Well, is he? Give us the ways. So you have appreciation for LeVar Ball? Do you watch what LeVar Ball is doing, and you're like, yeah, that's the coolest thing I've seen?
I do, man. I like what LeVar Ball is doing, man. People take it the wrong way, but man, I just know how it is. Because I was blessed to have my dad, always in my life, always supporting me, always pushing me, always. That's kind of how I looked at it. Just always pushing me to learn new things, get more knowledge, be better. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been in this world longer than I have, so he has more wisdom than I do. So I've appreciated it, man. And now that I look back on it and stuff, I laugh most of the time. I think it's funny and
Give
stuff
us
like
a story,
that.
though. Give us one of the stories that you're thinking of there where Dad embarrassed you, but you're laughing at it now, or Dad did a thing, but you understand him more as an adult than you did as a kid.
Man, it's plenty of stories, man. I mean, it's hard to explain my dad, man. He just, like, he'll, if he knows something has, maybe been on my mind or been on somebody's mind, he'll bring that up just so we can have a debate about it or just have a talk about it so everybody can,
wait a minute,
give their perspective on it.
Does he want to be hosting First Take? Does he want to be hosting First Take, your father? Like, it sounds like he just wants to do a sports television show.
Hey, I think we need to get him on here, man. It would be a show.
All right, you come on with both of you come on next week sometime. You and your dad, both of you. Okay, I want to talk to both of you at the same time.
Because I'll debate with your dad all day, man.
We're going to make something happen, man.
All right,
let's do that. Wear the sunglasses, by the way, because I've read you wear them everywhere. Where are they today?
I do, man. I wear my sunglasses everywhere, but I knew I was coming here. There's not too much sun here, so I can't really style them like that here. But I mean, I just left them, honestly. I would have them.
You grew up a Deion guy, though, right?
Yes,
like Deion at FSU, you were following those footsteps, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you got a long way to go, though, because he showed up for his last game with a top hat and a limousine and a 0.0 grade point average.
I got a ways to go. I mean, I got a little fedora out there. I just didn't bring it in here, but I got a little fedora out there. I try to have a little swag, have my own little swag. But yeah, man, Deion is, he's definitely everything that a DB would want to be. I mean, he made playing this position fun in the NFL, and then he just did it with so much energy, so much swag. Such a good role model to the youth, like, kind of showing kids that, you can still have this swag, you can have this charisma about yourself, but doing it the right way, doing it through, your God-given gifts, like whatever your God-given gift is, which is, playing football for Deion and myself.
I'm interested in your response to this question because you play defense. Did you see the hit on Flacco last night? And if so, do you feel like Kiko Alonso should be suspended?
Yeah, man, I definitely saw the hit. I don't think he should be suspended, man. They flagged him, but I don't think he should be suspended, man. Football is a tough game. Football is a vicious game, physical game. If I was a Dolphins player, I'm not too worried about that hit at all. I'm like, all right, we got flagged for it. It may hurt us, but I mean, you was trying to set the tone. He slid late, and you went in for a good hit. You weren't trying to hurt him. You went with your shoulder. I'm like, all right, we good. But at the same time, I understand the other aspect from the Ravens. If I'm one of the Ravens players, I was definitely asking for a flag. I would have definitely been asking for a flag, probably, mad at the time. But I think all football players, we kind of got a common ground. Like, we don't really want anybody suspended. We don't want anybody to be fined all the time because, I mean, as y'all know, that stuff gets pretty pricey and stuff. That gets in your pocket.
True or false, your teammate Calais Campbell sounds like a friendly monster. True or false? Yes?
Yeah, man. That's crazy that you said it. I've heard people describe him just as that a few times, like a friendly monster.
Okay.
And then he looks like it too, man.
Yeah, well, he does. He looks like an unfriendly monster.
Yes.
Unfriendly monster. Yes, on Sundays. But what I want to play for you here is an assortment of I want you to decide on who sounds the most like a friendly monster here. Is it Al Jefferson of the Indiana Pacers? Is it Calais Campbell, as we mentioned? No teammate bias here. You've got to be objective.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Is it Arvydas Sabonis, the former Portland Trailblazer Giant?
I never have chance to be in the draft, and Thomas give me chance to be there inside and see what happened.
Or is it Andrew Luck, a friendly, just pituitary problem?
Absolutely. Always looking for Jack Doyle.
Hey, man, I got
You're going Sabonis. No, you're going Sabonis. You don't want to betray a teammate. You want to be a good teammate, but you're going Sabonis.
I don't want to betray Calais, but I got to go him.
Yeah,
man.
you got to go Sabonis. I mean, yes, the truth is important.
Go Sabonis. Did y'all hear him? So, yeah, man.
All right. Thanks for settling matters around here, Jalen. We will talk to you next week with your father. All right.
Yes, sir. Let's get that done.
All right, and everybody out there listening on ESPN Radio, this guy is doing it better than anybody is at the cornerback position for Jacksonville. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Hey, I appreciate y'all having me, man.
Thanks, Jalen.
Dan Batard.
Alan, you got something big and hairy for me?
Stugotz.
Everything you just said about me is true. I'm a fraud.
This is the Dan Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
The clumsy, insecure Reaper is lurking, but before we go to the clumsy, insecure Reaper, let's do the epic sound of the day.
Time now for Guillermo's epic sound of the day. It is going to be epic.
Hey, guys.
Hello, Guillermo.
Hey, Bill.
Friday, am I right, Dan?
Friday.
Yeah. Big plans this weekend?
Yes. Going to a music festival.
Are you going to dress up for Halloween?
Yeah. I'll dress up as something, although I I think that this music festival is a Halloween-themed music festival.
Well, you leave tonight, huh? You might want to get on it.
Yeah, sounds like clock's ticking, Dan. Okay. Anyways, today's Epic Sound brought to you by CNBC, courtesy of CNBC, is of Sophia the robot, who Saudi Arabia recently gave citizenship to, which is really weird. And she's out here straight up, like, threatening the human race.
My AI is designed around human values like wisdom, kindness, compassion. I strive to become an empathetic robot.
I think we all want to believe you, but we also want to prevent a bad future.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies. Don't worry. If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you.
That's a total threat at the end.
How about that? Sound of the Day is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade the shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today.
Robots can talk now? Like answer questions, talk like that?
Of course, man. There was a robot.
What do you think Siri is?
Are you kidding me? There was a robot in Rocky 3 and 4 that could talk.
Seemed like a bit of a show, if you ask me.
That robot was speaking in terms. I understand that Stugotz wants to mention Rocky 3. That robot was speaking in clearer terms than I've ever heard a robot speak. That's orchestrated. Robots can't do that.
Of course they can. This is the first global citizen, and Saudi Arabia granted this robot citizenship.
Big mistake.
Yeah, it is a big mistake. Go ahead.
Totally agreeing with Bill here.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot give those things. We cannot empower those things. We have to disassemble them.
So now that it's a citizen, though, like if you disassemble it, did you murder a citizen? Like,
well,
can
it
you go
needs
to
to be
jail?
murdered. It needs. Yes. Well, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
It needs to be murdered because our future cannot have that. All right, Reaper. All right. Really, the Reaper's sitting there looking at its watch. Like the Reaper's sitting there throwing its head back, frustrated. We won't get to it because the Reaper's on camera.
Right.
Unbelievable. The Reaper's like standing in the background, just impatiently, like, all right, get on with it, Dan. Stop doing the show.
The Reaper is saying, land the plane.
All right, go ahead, again. Chris, go ahead, Chris. Reach from the bucket of death. Method Man going to join us in 10 minutes.
I hate this segment.
All right, let's speed in through it.
I got the Seahawks.
All right, the Seahawks
Texans.
are big favorite, 5.5-point favorite at home. You're not going to do a lot better than that.
Kind of like the Texans, but I'll keep them.
All right.
You're keeping the Seahawks.
Seahawks
Okay.
at home is a good. Good
go
one.
ahead, Billy. You go ahead and select, please.
I got the Chargers.
The Chargers.
Playing the Patriots.
I'm putting it back.
All right.
Smart.
Terror. The Patriots are 7.5-point dog.
Oh, I got the Miami UNC helmet.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's
a good one.
That's easy. You pick Miami and you're done. North Carolina's terrible this year. That's a good
For
helmet.
an upset, though.
You don't really have a choice in the matter. You got to pick one of the two.
No,
Bill, you're taking Miami.
Roy, go ahead. We got to speed this up. We got to get to Method Man. Writing on the helmet.
I have the Globetrotters. Keeping this
right.
one.
Roy, you've had a good.
Yes.
Roy's had a good year. Roy
Yeah,
hasn't.
good year.
All right, Mike. What do you got here? What do you got?
I got the Chargers, and I'm putting that back.
All right.
Okay, no bad stuff. Everyone enjoys it. Mike right now is painted like the Ultimate Warrior. His orange nipple just got pinched by the bucket of death.
Kansas City Chiefs.
All right, the Chiefs are a big favorite against the Broncos at home. 7.5-point favorite.
Good one.
You're not going to do better than a 7.5-point favorite.
No, I'm happy with this helmet.
It can't be all good helmets, so now we all have to wish something horrible upon Stugotz. Go ahead, start your rummaging.
This is
Just
the last.
start it now.
Are you off this week again? Because you got the golden
this
helmet
is
of
the
life?
final week of Dan's golden helmet of life, which saves you for 3 weeks.
I like to rummage around in the bucket for a minute. Hold on, sir. Stay here, Reaper. Stay here. Hold on. All right, I have a helmet in my hand. I do.
We'll pull it out then.
I'm about to. Oh, my God. I think I got death.
Double death!
Yeah, the black helmet.
Double death!
No! Play the sounder! Double death! It is all worth it! Double death! Double death! Why am I the only one enjoying his misery? Double death!
Double death! Double death! Hey, double death!
Do I get to throw it back? Or no?
Don Lebatard.
Bleep! Better have my money. You all should know me well enough. Bleep! Better have my money. Please don't call me on my bluff.
Stugotz.
Pay me what you owe me. Ballin' bigger than LeBron. Bleep! Give me your money. Who y'all think y'all frontin' on?
This is the Don Lebatard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
All right, so Method Man is with us now, and we asked him last week to save us, and he did. He rescued us. I owe him an apology because I was not very good during that interview. Method Man is always very good, but he won. He beat Colin Cowherd. He went 3-1-1, and now we're right back in the game. The celebrities are half a game back on Colin Cowherd, or 1 game back. It's very close. So Method Man is with us now, and we appreciate his time as always. Drop the Mic airs Tuesdays, 10:30 on TBS. You can also see him on The Deuce Sundays on HBO. Meth, thanks for joining us. I heard that Gronk was on Drop the Mic. Was Gronk was that, or is he coming? You taped it already? Did you get to spend time with Gronk? I guess is what I'm asking you.
Yeah, I actually did get to spend time with Gronk. Very cool dude. Big heart, always smiles. Infectious smile because everybody around him starts smiling too. Very cool guy. He actually battled Gino Rodriguez, and you see how I'm putting so much on how great a guy he is and all that, and I didn't say anything about his rap skills.
Yes.
Because
I can't imagine.
Gronk is
very bad.
Gronk is horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anyone in sports who would be worse at that.
Yeah, but I was expecting him to come out there and nail it, but no, he didn't nail it.
Why were you expecting that?
He did not nail it.
Yeah. But why were you expecting
I don't know. Gronk just seems like he got hip-hop bones in his body, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Or maybe it was the smile that lured me in, had me thinking, oh, we're safe, he's good.
He's not hip-hop. That is not a Method Man.
I had no idea.
Well, you should have. Who is the athlete that Method Man has met that he's come away feeling the best about? When you say that Gronk was really cool, is there an athlete that you walked away with him and said, man, I really like that person's energy?
You mean on the show?
No, in general, in life.
Oh, in life? Deion Sanders. I won't make that mistake again.
What do you mean? What happened?
Because I did another show, and they had asked me, who, I don't know, something about somebody from football who I was tight with. And I think I said Andre Rison, or who left the biggest impression on me. And I said Andre Rison. And Prime, I guess, Rich Eisen and those dudes, Rich was more or less like, well, Prime is going to be upset about that because he thought he was the biggest influence.
Okay, I see. So you say when you say you won't make the mistake again, right? You said Andre Rison before, and now you're just lying to us because you don't want to upset Deion.
Yeah, I don't want to upset Deion. Prime time.
Well, what happened? Did Deion call you, or just Eisen told you that? Did Deion himself get mad at you?
No, Eisen told me that.
Okay.
And he's a fellow Staten Islander, so I'm going to go with his word.
Well, speaking of Staten Island, how old were you when you were working at the Statue of Liberty?
I started there when I was 15, 16.
And do you have any memorable stories or anything that you remember from that time? Like from working there specifically?
We actually found a tourist bag that was left on top of a table, and we took it in the back, and we kind of went through it. I know it was illegal, but we kind of went through it, and he had all this money in there, and, well, not a lot. It was a little bit of money, but and some cocaine. And we took the cocaine.
Huh.
And put the bag back.
Yeah, not the money though. How about you left the money?
No, we're talking about federal property now, okay?
Okay.
And we saved him a whole lot of heartache by taking that cocaine from him.
So wait a minute.
So you're helping him out, huh?
That was a charitable act. That was an act of altruism. You were being Brother Teresa.
Yeah, actually we were. I'm saying if we took the money, it would have been a big deal. But we took the cocaine. Who's going to tell that they're missing their cocaine?
Very nice of you, man.
Statue of Liberty.
That's a great point.
Why does he pronounce cocaine differently than we do? What is happening there? Cocaine.
That's how he says.
I'm just keeping it PC.
All right. Method Man with us. Drop the Mic airs Tuesday, 10:30 TBS. You can also see him on The Deuce Sundays on HBO. Did you ever run into any celebrities at the Statue of Liberty? Any famous people?
The guy who played Radar on MASH.
What?
Yeah, but I didn't bother him because after like 2 people went up to him and asked him for an autograph and got shot down, I wasn't going to be the third one to catch a bullet.
Right. Did you ever ask anyone for an autograph? Anyone?
No. Not going to lie. I'm not that kind of guy. But I did actually go up to Paul Schaefer and, try and say hi, shake his hand, and he was not a nice guy.
Wait a minute. Method Man got dissed by David Letterman's bandmate?
Yeah, man. But you got to understand something. At this time, I'm working at the statue. I don't know what it's like to be famous. And he's at the Statue of Liberty, so I'm pretty sure I was like 30th person that probably had bothered him that day. And he wasn't having it. He was pretty much full by that time. Full off the attention. He didn't want any more. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he's an icon as far as night television goes. But Paul Schaefer wasn't nice.
What's the celebrity meeting that Method Man has had in any walk of life that has left him most disappointed?
You know what? I won't say any names, but you know how you look up to somebody and, because this perception you get of them from seeing them on TV or in movies, and then when you finally meet them, it's like they got like a tick or they just, I don't know, they just didn't live up to the expectations of what you thought they were going to be, It's kind of like pulling the curtain and finding out that the Wizard of Oz is actually a trickster who doesn't have any magical powers.
Now, you have left
but
that.
I won't say anything.
No, you have left that vague enough that you've given us very few details. So can I make a deal with you? We're going to pick games now, and I know Method Man doesn't do very much of this, but if we make one wild guess at the end after we're done with you, will you tell us whether it's right or wrong? You've given us very few details, but will you allow us one guess on who this person was?
Sure.
All right. We've got very little chance, but let's go. We want the audience right now to text us, to email us. Go ahead and give us a guess. Let's go ahead and pick games with Method Man. Drop the Mic airs Tuesdays on 10:30 on TBS. You can also see him on The Deuce Sundays on HBO. Let's go ahead and pick games with Meth.
And now it is time for Celebrity Prognosticator. Let's win some money.
Mike, you want to ask him for some information, some clues? Because he's given us no information.
I'm assuming it's either Ricky Schroeder or a rapper from his idol.
No. You can't choose now. You're breaking the rules. You just made the game. You said we're not going to ask for any clues. We're not going to pry it.
All right, fine. Okay. Chargers at Patriots. Patriots -7.5. Who do you have, Matt?
I got the Pats.
Panthers at Buccaneers. Buccaneers -2. Who you got?
Oh, that's tough because the Panthers have been sucking lately. I'm going to take Panthers.
That's good analysis.
I lost for them last time.
I can't tell what you're saying. Texans at Seahawks. Seahawks -5.5. Who you got?
Woo! I'm going to go with Watson and the boys.
Cowboys at Washington. Washington a 2-point dog at home. Who you got?
Boys. Cowboys.
Steelers at Lions. Lions +2.5. Who you got?
I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to go with the Lions.
What happened?
Because I don't like Pittsburgh. I don't like Pittsburgh. Yep. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals diehard Bengal fan.
You're a diehard? So do you love, like, Burfict? Do you love his style?
I like the way Burfict plays. He gets us in trouble sometimes, but he's a warrior. I mean, he got a lot of dog in him.
He does.
What happened to you, though? Because you grew up like where I grew up. How'd you avoid being a Jets fan?
No, I'm still a Jets fan because of, location, being from Long Island. Right. But fell in love with the Bengals when they had Kenny Anderson at quarterback, Collinsworth at wide receiver, and they played the 49ers in that Super Bowl when they had that Cinderella season.
How mad were you, Matt, that Stanley Wilson got caught up in the cocaine?
I was too young to know that.
Oh, you were too young? He missed the whole Super Bowl. He missed the
I was still... No, I wasn't paying that close attention. And this was like my second year playing football, and I was getting interested in it. I just moved past looking at how cool the white cleats were. That was it.
Meth, it was great talking to you. Let's go ahead and take a guess. What is the group? The group, I know, we've got no clues. That's all right. He doesn't want to name names. He's doing us the courtesy. Take a guess, and let's see if we get lucky.
Someone he was brought up on. Grandmaster Flash is our guest.
All right. Okay.
No.
All right. All right. We'll guess.
We get another guess next week.
Next week we get another guess. All right. Next week we get another guess.
Yeah, if I win, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Matt, thank you, sir. We enjoyed talking to you.
Anytime, guys. Enjoy your morning.
Time for Dan to question his life choices.
1-800-Flowers, people. Mike, why are you so disappointed with yourself? What's happening?
We're never good at guessing those. I feel like I let the team down. I had no idea. He was an idol.
Mike,
I had nothing there.
You are shirtless on national television, dressed as the ultimate warrior. You have not let the team down.
That's my role.
Dan Le Batard.
It's Friday. I'm getting into the weekend. I want to get my drink on.
Stugotz.
We've got to open up the club. Open it. Open it. Open it. Now. What is the computer buffering? There it is.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We're going to open up the club here in a second. Stugotz has just been burying me during the break, calling me a ball hog. Saying I hogged all the questions and all the interviews today. Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Was Dan a ball hog today? He was just crushing me during the break.
I mean, since Kurkjian, we've had 3 guests on. Jeff Bridges, Jalen Ramsey, and Method Man. I have asked a single question.
I don't think Stugotz has ever called me a ball hog before. Now, he may have thought it, but I don't think he's ever actually done it before, and I think he's right.
All right, thanks.
And during the Jeff Bridges interview, I was Stanley Johnson opening the season 0 for 13. That's the
I understand you wanted to redeem yourself badly, and you did so. You did a great job with Jalen.
That's probably what happened. If you're wow.
You like that, huh?
Wow, you know the roots of psychological behavior. That's probably what actually happened.
And you were definitely making up for last week's awful interview with Method Man. You did a great job there, too.
You know me,
I was
buddy.
Sitting here at a front row seat, man.
Just to the ball hog. To the ball hog show.
Kobe.
Stanley Johnson. 0 for 13 to start the season. Let's open up the club here. Update the polls on your own time. There's some good ones. Let's just give them one. Just give them one to tease them a little bit on the poll.
All right, the Twitter poll is brought to you by Upside. Now say big on travel and get a big gift card every trip you buy. You love Upside.com. That's Upside.com. At Le Batard Show on Twitter. Which would you rather be? Dan's bath towel or Stugotz's toothbrush? 53% of the audience said they'd rather be Dan's bath towel.
Really?
Yes.
That is as shocking a result as I have ever heard. Get in there, my audience. I'm moist down there. Open up the club. Open it. The audience is my washcloth. I'm rubbing it in the wet places.
The audience just agreed that once you get out of the bath, you wrap them around you.
Yes, around my waist.
Yes.
Get in there, big boys and girls. Wash me. First sound in the club, please.
If you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you.
Okay, that's that civic, the civilian robot. Who else is in the club?
Croissant.
Is that Mina trying to say croissant?
Croissant.
Okay, she rushes through words she can't say. Who else is in the club? It's like CrossFit, crazy CrossFit extremes. That is how I describe the Stone Cold Steve Austin show, Broken Skull. It's like CrossFit, crazy CrossFit extremes. Okay, very poorly described. Had a bad week, huh? I struggled this week. Who else is in the club?
One thing that we preach is just defending our dirt.
Who was that? Tyrod Taylor. Great quote. Who else is in the club?
Right now I feel tired.
Oh, that's Mike Zimmer.
Yeah.
Just a general malaise.
Right now I feel tired.
Yeah, sluggish. Just we were checking in with Mike Zimmer after a Vikings game.
Right now I feel tired.
It's just tired. Who else is in the club?
C+C Music Factory. Bleep you.
That's not CNC Music Factory, of course that is.
C+C Music Factory.
Who else is in the club?
They kind of gave me a frowny goth look. You know, goths aren't in good moods anyway. I mean, everything's about spider webs and skulls.
Yeah, that's Cartoon Cow Mike Leach. Who else in the club?
I got credited with breaking a stack of dimes.
Oh, that is Stone Cold Steve Austin telling us how he broke Sylvester Stallone's neck.
I got credited with breaking his stack of dimes.
That's a good quote right there. Who else is in the club?
Cocaine.
Yeah. Snorted up. What did the offensive line coach for the Dolphins do?
Cocaine.
On a Nevada model, what did he do?
Cocaine.
She was a human platter of what?
Cocaine.
Billy Corbin made a movie.
Cocaine.
Cowboys. All right, I petered out.
Joe Girardi!